It has become very popular to claim that human beings are nothing more than the product of a blind evolutionary process. A lot of intellectuals believe that there is nothing special about us. We are just a complex animal that appeared after a very long chain of random mutations and natural selection, without any intelligent being or God behind it. You can see this among best-selling authors such as Yuval Noah Harari or Richard Dawkins. In his book Sapiens, for instance, Harari says, "As far as we can tell from a purely scientific viewpoint, human life has absolutely no meaning. Humans are the outcome of blind evolutionary processes that operate without goal or purpose." Another quote in this line from the book River Out of Eden by Dawkins is, "The universe we observe has precisely the properties we should expect if there is, at bottom, no design, no purpose, no evil, and no good. Nothing but blind, pitiless indifference. DNA neither cares nor knows. DNA just is, and we dance to its music." In this video, I want to explain why I think that these kind of claims are the most irrational claims one could ever make. And I do this by briefly describing an argument from philosopher Alvin Plantinga, which goes by the name of the evolutionary argument against naturalism. Loosely speaking, naturalism is the worldview of those who think that reality consists only of the material world we observe, combined with the natural laws by which it changes in time, without any reference to an intelligence behind those laws or to any supernatural beings. From the point of view of a naturalist who thinks that humans are nothing more than the product of evolution, every aspect of our existence can be ultimately reduced to a series of physical events guided by natural selection. In particular, all our thoughts and beliefs are nothing more than electrical and chemical reactions taking place within a brain which is itself a product of evolution. Now, there is a problem with this. Natural selection only cares about the survival and the reproduction of the DNA within a living organism. Natural selection doesn't care at all about truth or falsehood. And this implies, at least in principle, that a belief which helps human beings to survive and reproduce will be selected in the evolutionary process, whether it is true or false. In other words, you believe what you believe not because it is true or because there are good reasons or arguments to believe it, but simply because it increases, or it used to increase, your odds of survival. From this, it follows that a naturalist has no sound argument whatsoever for his own worldview, since according to this worldview, no sound argument can ever exist. That is why we may say that believing that we are nothing more than the product of blind evolution is the blindest of faiths. It is the most irrational position one could ever take, since it undermines the sheer possibility of rational argumentation itself. To refute what I just said, one could try to show that a false belief could never help us to survive in the long run, and hence could not be selected by evolution. But this seems very unlikely. After all, even some naturalists themselves claim that there are things which most people have long believed only because they are useful for society. One example is free will. You will often hear naturalist thinkers claiming that free will is an illusion that helps us to organize society by holding people accountable for their deeds. But if something as widespread and generally accepted as the conviction that we are free can be an illusion, then anything else can too, in particular evolutionary theory and the naturalist hypothesis, which they claim to be true. This is why Plantinga argues that the view of someone who is convinced both of evolution and naturalism is self-defeating. Once you accept the premises based on reasons or evidence that seem convincing to you, it follows from those very same premises that the reasons you had to accept them are not good at all. Of course, you may very well still believe that the material world is all there is and that humans are just a product of evolution, but you have to realize that there are no good reasons for doing so. It is pure blind faith, as blind as the evolutionary process that led to it. To finish this video, I want to point out that Plantinga's argument does not aim at rejecting evolution, but at rejecting naturalism. In his view, evolution finds a more natural ally in a theistic worldview than in an atheistic one. According to him, there is an intelligent creator behind the laws of this universe, and evolution is just another law or part of the plan of this creator in order to arrive at intelligent beings with an immaterial intellect or soul capable of acquiring true knowledge. I hope you enjoyed this brief overview of the evolutionary argument against naturalism and that you have stuff to look up and think about. See you in the next video.